NFL Pro Era is easily one of the best virtual reality football experiences you can currently get on the PlayStation VR2. And it's not just on the PlayStation VR2 that it's such a great experience, it's also on every single VR headset device. From earning trophies from your hard work on the field, and being able to participate in multiple practice drills to sharpen up your skills before you get on the field, this is the closest thing you can currently get to being a real NFL quarterback. And not just that, but in some cases, this virtual reality game outshines the new Madden 2023. And I'll explain all right now. Now, you're able to choose your favorite team, and once you choose your favorite team, you're able to go into that first practice. In this practice, it's literally just a tutorial. You're able to kind of figure out where you are with your skills, what you have to do, how to hand the ball off, how to throw the ball, how to handle everything, how to snap the ball. It's a great way to really start and kick off your NFL Pro Era experience. Now, it's important to understand that the PlayStation VR2 offers a much more higher quality experience than it does over on the Quest 2. Now, I would definitely not recommend you getting the Quest 2 version. The PlayStation VR2 has higher textures, has higher quality, the grass looks better, the player models look better. Not only that, but even the fans in the crowd do have a little bit more of a personality on the PlayStation VR2. Though they do look like your typical fans that you would have seen in Wii Sports, it's still an awesome touch to see in virtual reality. And over on the PlayStation VR2, those fans now have a little bit more of a personality when it comes to their facial structures and their facial designs. Now, speaking of the fans, those fans seem to have stadiums that they sit in, and honestly, each stadium, for me personally, did feel a little bit unique. You see, in certain stadiums, you were able to have their fans chant a specific way. For example, over at Lambeau Field, I was able to hear the "Go Pack Go" chant. Now, this is really cool to see, but what I also noticed that was actually a pretty big game changer, whether I was at home or even away, was when it was a third down in game. The announcer would get the crowd riled up in order to prevent me from either getting a third down or the visiting team from that I was going against getting that third down.
Come on!
Now, this was a really nice touch, and for somebody like me who's really into the details in games when it comes to water physics or something like this, I'm really big when it comes to crowd interactions, when it comes to sports games in general, because they have such a giant impact on a game. And even though there's no real momentum meter in this virtual reality game, it still did feel like in my head I was able to create some type of momentum shift, which is really fun to see and was really fun for my imagination to go to those interesting spots. Now, there was also a lot of awesome added features that you actually wouldn't even see over on Madden 2023, and I'm specifically talking about the trophies you can earn while playing in this game. Now, with each game I played, I was able to rack up a few trophies, and it wasn't just like your typical Rookie of the Year, your MVP, and even your Super Bowl trophy. Though these are trophies you can obtain in the game, it wasn't just those trophies that really made me want to further play this game. Some of the trophies I got were completing 10 first downs, completing 70% of my passes. One trophy I really valued over all of the other trophies was the trophy I got for beating one of my rivaled opponents. This showed me that the game understood how big this game was and how big it was for the season. See, beating a rival in the NFL is one of the biggest things you could do, because that is either your ticket to becoming a playoff team or potentially not. And one of the quickest ways to get to the playoffs is beating your divisional opponent. Now, when it comes to sheer gameplay, I overall did have a pretty good experience. Now, being in the huddle for the first time really did make me feel as if I was the real leader of this NFL football team, and breaking that huddle and being able to see the formation of the defense and the formation that I was in was an interesting perspective for somebody that's never had an opportunity to be on the NFL field before and be able to look at something like this. However, once I snapped the ball, I did encounter a few gameplay issues, specifically when it came to throwing the ball most of the time. An example I have of this is that I was trying to throw the ball to this receiver right here. What happened was the ball ended up going to a completely different receiver. Now, though it was a touchdown, it was still not what I was aiming for, and it was kind of a bummer because I could have easily made that throw to the right side, but for some reason the ball ended up going in a completely different direction than I wanted it to. I did also experience some height tracking issues when it came to tracking my height. Sometimes I was 6'5", and other times I was back at my original 7'6" standard size. No, I'm just kidding, I'm 5'8". Now, this was a simple fix. I was able to go into my virtual reality settings and able to switch my play area again, but again, this was something that was kind of an inconvenience and really took me away from that immersion I was experiencing so much when I started up the game. Another problem I had is I wish they would add an option for me to change the plays while I was in the huddle. Once you break the huddle, you do have an option to audible example, which is really nice. But if you go into practice mode, for example, you're able to pick a lot of the other options when it comes to passing or even running the football. I do wish they would have this while you're in game as well, instead of just going off of what the coach calls for you right away. If there's a bit more freedom here, I think it would be a lot more better and a lot more convenient for a lot of players. Not just that, but at times I did experience my offensive line really not having any type of a direction of what they were doing. Sometimes when I would break the huddle, they would end up moving around, or they end up just standing still and not really understanding that they needed to get into their formation. This was a little bit of an issue once I was obviously trying to run a 2-minute drill and trying to get my team down to score. Having my offensive line kind of be everywhere and not getting set right away was definitely something that was kind of taking me out of the immersive experience I was having before. And one of the bigger gameplay issues that I really did not like was the fact that I was unable to go in between my offensive linemen anytime I wanted to make a scrambling play. Now, the only time this would work is if I were to call a designated quarterback QB sneak play call, and then I would be able to go in between my offensive linemen. But even then, it was a little bit clippy and a little bit chippy. And in football, pocket passing is such a big thing, and you see quarterbacks a lot get in between the pocket and run. It was definitely a little bit of an issue, and it was not the funnest time for me when I tried to go in between those tackles. But overall, I really did enjoy running in this game. It was one of the most fun things I actually did while playing this game. Being able to run around defenders, being able to juke out defenders, and have really long run plays was really fun. And it really did feel like I was running, because you do have to pump your arms in order to get that extra momentum. It was really enjoyable. And also, passing for the most part was pretty nice to me, though I have heard of a lot of people having some issues when it comes to the things that I said earlier as far as the ball going in a completely different direction. I do hope they do update this, because this was something that I found reoccurring as I started to play the game more. Now, NFL Pro Era does offer a good chunk of game modes and what you're able to do when playing the game. For example, you could choose minicamp tours. You had 4 options when you selected this option. You had the pocket passing event, the rolling out event, the dime dropping event. I played some of the pocket passing, and I could definitely see my improvements of my skills getting better and better. And this was actually where I was able to kind of really dissect the throwing of the game, and I could definitely see how I was making certain mistakes as far as maybe throwing the ball too far behind my head. I really noticed that if I had the ball up close to my head and throwing it straight from there and not cocking it back as I would normally do with a real football in real life, it was actually a little bit more accurate overall. And with the new haptic triggers on the PlayStation VR2, I was able to experience a lot more of that tension when it came to picking up the football, which definitely felt really immersive while in game. Now, you do have a multiplayer option, so if you did want to play with some of your friends, this is something that you could do. And you do have an exhibition option as well, so if you wanted somebody to come over and play this game for the first time and not ruin the season you're working really hard on, this would be a great place for them to start. Overall, I'm going to give this game a 7 out of 10. With some gameplay bug fixes, this game has the potential to be a really great virtual reality football game. And over on the PlayStation VR2, this is the best possible experience, honestly, you can currently get right now when it comes to playing NFL Pro Era. But again, being able to play on your favorite NFL team is something that we have not seen in virtual reality before, and this game really doesn't have any huge competition currently when it comes to that football VR market. And if you made it this far in the video, I can tell you at least enjoy virtual reality a little bit, so consider giving this channel a subscribe and consider giving this video a like, so it really means a lot to me. We currently have 1,300 subscribers, and for those 1,300 people, I truly appreciate you guys and love you all so much. And if you want to know a little bit more about your PlayStation VR2, if you just bought it, or just about virtual reality PlayStation VR2 in general, consider giving this video a look right here. I'm JizzleVR, and I will catch you in the next video.